We're going to do a little chatting with the masters with Sam's
You
nervous? Your voice just cracked.
husband.
I didn't know if you're going to bring that up.
I don't know why that happened.
You know what? I think both of us have reached this point. It's like the time of year where we need a break to relax our voices.
Well, I talked a lot at the BDM Christmas party.
That was me.
And then when you're yell talking, because when there's crowds around, I can't hear
and
that well.
band was jamming.
Yeah,
They were loud.
My God.
And I think that got me.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Trav is here, Sam's husband. How you doing, Trav?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Have we ever had Trav on the show?
We have.
At least once on a Friday Free show, he
Yeah.
was here as a contestant for the infamous BDM Ticket Challenge.
Yeah, John the Alarm guy.
Yes,
Love that guy. That guy's awesome.
and
This is ACT, right?
This is ACT.
Yeah. Remember, they can't be too perfect. Everybody
Yeah.
I do
that.
remember that. That was the only thing I remember.
Yeah. So, Trav, let's start with...
How are they? Are they still perfect?
Still perfect. Back to you, Tom.
A little less perfect.
Oh!
It's been a while. It's been 10 years. That was 10 years
This guy
ago.
goes
You
hard.
got the goods!
Look, I'm a little less perfect too. You know, it happens to everybody.
We all are.
Oh my
Time marches
God. We're
on.
not even 2 minutes in.
Oh, time isn't in it.
You're tearing apart my...
This guy's
Effing
legend
marriage.
status.
Holy ruined everything.
This guy's literally legend status. Comes in and says that. I'm not saying that. I can't even look at her right now.
So, Travis,
Okay.
let's start with where you grew up, because...
Look, I'm a little salty because I thought this was going to be a spouse cast. And now I'm showing up. It's chatting with the master. I'm not a master. I thought there were going to be two ladies on the couch.
He did think there was going to be 2 ladies. Unfortunately, your schedule and their schedule did not line up. So now
We're going to have to change that.
And I want this to be about you, Travis,
Okay,
because
great.
if we have the other wives in...
That's
then
my least favorite thing, is me.
I start yelling at my wife, then it all
And then
becomes...
my wife
a-
just sits
Then
there.
it's just Tom's gripes.
My wife's just
Yeah.
naturally annoying with all of her dumb organization and all that. I can do this and
It's
I
too
can do
good.
that.
It
I'm
makes
like,
us
get
all
the
feel
heck-
about.
Get out of here.
All right. So, Trav, where'd you grow up?
Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah. Southeast Orlando.
Born and raised.
Kind of out in the sticks. Now it's Lake Nona's all built up, but I grew up like
Like the
South-
Moss Park
southeast
area.
of Moss Park when it was
Okay.
just a 2-lane road that went out there.
Oh, no way.
And
It's hard to find people, at least for me, that were like born in Orlando.
yeah.
Like most of my friends have moved, including me.
Sure.
To Orlando. So born in the city of Orlando. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Sam and I both, but we didn't meet each other until after high school.
It's very bizarre. We
Yeah.
never ran into each other.
And
because-
into the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were probably at some of the same shows together. I was really good friends with our buddy Rodney, who Travis later was in a band with.
Right.
But he was more friends with Rodney's little sister because they're the same age. Trav's 2 years younger than me. So he was hanging out and they were in the same grade, and me and
It's
Rodney
weird.
were in the same
That
grade. But we
2-year
never ran into each other.
That 2-year grade difference meant a lot more back
in
then.
the
You know what I
day,
mean?
yeah.
Because Rodney was always my friend's older brother, and like he was too cool for school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
dynamic is different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now of course we're like best buds, played in bands, and he's got a great family. But I grew up way in the corner, the southeast corner of Orange County, and went to high school at Oak Ridge.
Oh,
Okay.
no way.
Which is, I mean, it was like an hour and a half long bus ride. I don't know, some sort of like gerrymandering was going on with the district, but
An hour and a half?
Yeah.
because
Think about it, Moss Park and then Oak Ridge, which is like
Yeah.
OBT
but then
Oak Ridge.
we had to
Road.
pick up all these kids on the way too. We were like the first and last stop on the.
There's
on the,
no reason he should have been zoned
No.
for that area.
Was
it
Oak
probably
Ridge,
should have been her school.
Was Oak Ridge, and I remember this back in the day, was it a predominantly black school?
Yeah.
Were
Yes.
you some of the like bust-in whiteys to even
I'm
it out?
pretty sure that's what was going on.
Yeah, because
okay.
I remember there was
What's these
something.
whiteys in?
Yeah.
Hour and a half bus ride.
Jokes on them. I almost dropped out.
Oh man.
So they're busting you into Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
They got a bad whitey on that one.
Oak Ridge was like, at least from my perspective of hearing other educators going to DeLand High, I thought I had a buddy of mine's dad worked at Oak Ridge. I thought I had a reputation for being a pretty tough school.
It wasn't great.
It definitely was when I went there.
Yeah.
It's
They've redone
it's
it
since
since,
been
yeah.
renovated, and I think but it was like an F school year
Yeah,
after year
I
after
think it
year.
was an
all
F
the
school.
troubled kids.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's when the teacher turns the seat around and sits on a back.
They used to call me Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was
He's
definitely in
the
some
other guy,
classes
yeah.
where the teacher was being ridiculed, couldn't control the students throwing stuff.
Hey,
We were just talking about that.
I
The
like-
substitute's gay.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
I like
it was
that.
rough.
I like it when
I do like it when the students bully the teacher,
Yes.
and there's nothing the teacher
Only if
can
it's
do
a
about
man.
it.
I don't like it when it's an old
Yeah.
lady and she
Right,
cries
right,
and
right.
packs her purse and walks away. We've settled. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I
No,
like
sad
both.
middle-aged man
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
control the class.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Oh,
was
we used to
interesting.
have an old
And he's
man.
intimidated because the students
Yeah.
can
Oh, yeah.
easily beat him
Oh,
up.
for
yeah.
sure.
We used to have. Oh my
Outnumbered,
God!
too.
I'm gonna say this, and there are probably people around here. If you lived in Volusia County and went to DeLand High or DeLand Middle, you may have known this man. There was a little old man that used to substitute for us, and he wore burgundy polyester pants and leisure. Remember when they'd wear wide collar, flowery print, kind of tight to your body, tucked in.
Yeah.
Sansa belt slacks, and he'd be our guy. His name was Mr. Tunis.
Oh.
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Tunis.
not Tunis.
Yeah, yeah. And he'd write, he's like, I'm Mr. Tunis. He had a comb over, and he'd go up there. As soon as he wrote Tunis on there, I
Yeah.
watched everybody start chanting tuna to the. Oh my God! it was like the wave of bullying was coming for him. Everybody mean to him, spitballs, pieces of paper thrown at him. Nobody doing anything. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
I-
God bless you, Mr. Tunis.
I like extreme lack of respect. I don't know why. It makes me laugh. And so, Travis, you mentioned that you barely graduated.
Yeah.
So your high school time was it rough? They just not into it?
Yeah,
What was it?
I didn't have a great childhood, not a lot of support, all that fun stuff. But I was one of those gifted kids that always seemed
One of the weirdos.
yeah, that always seemed to just underperform perpetually.
Oh.
I actually had a decent mentor in high school. And I think some strings were pulled because I graduated with 2.0, like the bare absolute
that's all
minimum.
right.
Yeah, but I think some stuff was going on behind the scenes to kind of get me out of there.
See,
Gotcha.
see, it happened.
Yeah.
They're like, just let him go.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Because the thing is, Trav's smart. He just wasn't motivated to do his work
True, I was-
or go to school.
Oh,
I'm pretty
I
sure
was
he
truant
has some
for a
truancy
while,
problems there.
which wasn't ideal. But all that's in the past. Kind of got my S together, and
So when you left high school, what was your plan at that time?
move in with Sam. No, I mean, yeah.
Basically.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you guys met in high school.
No, just
it was
after.
just after. So I started playing in a band with our buddy Rodney that we're mutual friends with. Rodney grew up in my neighborhood, essentially.
But he went to my school.
Right,
Gotcha, okay.
right.
Gotcha.
Not sure how that worked out, but whatever. But I knew Rodney, growing up. But we were playing in a band, punk rock, writing original songs, playing some covers and stuff. We were a New Year's Eve party, I think,
Yeah.
at Rodney's house. And that's where we met.
Back when, people used to do house parties all the time.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
8
sure teens still do that.
I was 18
Yeah.
years old. I worked as soon as actually through high school. I started working at UPS basically as soon as I could, loading trucks, sorting boxes. Stuff you do when you're young and you have a
Right.
strong back.
Yeah.
In hindsight, probably should have stayed because I think those drivers.
Oh, yeah. You would have been
make like
banking.
6 figures and retire in their early 50s. You know what I mean?
We got a
Yeah,
few
well,
UPS
yeah.
drivers.
Yeah,
so
you
let's-
start early.
Yeah. Well, that's
When
why I
they-
started as early as you could. I was like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
just-
a buddy who started at 19, and he crushes me in income now, and it's like
if you
crazy.
stick with it.
Yeah. It's hard work though.
But
It
yeah,
really
it's
is.
just
so
it's
hard.
painstaking.
And I think you have to. At the time that I started, you had to work part time. They didn't have full time schedules, so it was
right.
like,
You're sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
And
Like not
weird
making a lot.
hours.
Yeah, you're taking
oh yeah,
all
work
shifts that nobody
overnight,
wants.
weirdo
Yeah.
stuff.
Also, and think about if you started as a UPS driver back in early 2000s or whatever,
Yeah.
and think about how much more work got ramped up through the past 20
Oh,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
What is-
Amazon.
yeah.
Right.
So it's like it was probably the worst time to start as far as you started and it was pretty busy, but it just got more
Yeah.
every single year.
Now
and,
it's just like
yeah. And no,
a river of cardboard.
yeah, it's all delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that I would want to do that for a career necessarily, but at the time that I started, it was before. This was 2005, 2006.
Right.
It was before we kind of had this. Obviously you could buy stuff online, but not to the degree that we're doing it today. But the path to become like a UPS driver then was a long path. Everything was based on seniority. I'm 16 years old, whatever. So it was like it would be impossible. But now I see UPS drivers that are like in their early 20s
Yeah.
because I'm sure the boom. you know,
Right,
the
they need 'em.
demand is
Oh,
now
they'll
so
take
high.
anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Felony, no problem.
Right, right.
That's what Richard does.
Did you have did you have a particular job you wanted to do? Like I could see you like working at like a music store or like
Yeah, well, I wanted to
or-
be a freaking rock star. Like,
Sure.
who doesn't?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
I mean, I started playing guitar in high school or whatever, and I started reading music theory books and practicing scales. You know,
Nice.
the stuff that a lot of people probably don't do now. I'm sure the resources are different nowadays, but I got my mom as a hippie at heart. The Beatles, Zeppelin, Hendrix, Clapton, the Guess Who, all these, iconic bands. So that's kind of what I was aspiring to,
Yeah.
and eventually, through learning music theory and again, practicing scales and all that stuff,
Self-taught.
learning the correlation
That's what
between
I'm saying.
scales
He's
and
not
chords.
stupid.
And
He just
No.
didn't go to school.
well,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of my friends
I'm kind of
that-
stupid too.
And then he
But-
studied music because that's what he wanted
Well,
to
I think
do.
most of my friends that like were bad at school, like if I'm just doing the averages, most of my friends that were bad at school are my smartest friends. Like
checks out.
on the average.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like most of them that like flunked out. Like my buddy Dave, the guy in California that does the movies, he's like a Trav. You know, he's just like, I'll just teach myself how to do this. I don't need any of this. You know, it's just,
So-
yeah, it's
I
pretty.
worked my ass off. and
But you
got
have to
good
be a
grades for
self-starter to
nothing.
do that, right? Like you have to like have the motivation to pick up the book, to
Sure,
read the
yeah.
theory. I mean, it's kind of a pain. Who'd you get that from? Somebody in your family is a self-starter that likes to teach
well, I don't
themselves
really
things.
know about the character trait, but like my
Yeah.
mom kind of dabbled in piano and again listened to good music,
Cool.
which kind of inspired me to start learning that. And of course, like watching Hendrix and stuff at like Monterey Pop, and I was like, I want to be able to improv guitar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like play the blues, improv, just make it up as I go. Which that's where like all that practicing and stuff translated into the band because I didn't play with anybody until me and Rodney were like, I think it was the summer after I graduated. He's like, hey, you want to, I knew he played guitar and stuff, and he's a songwriter, one of the best songwriters I know. And he's like, hey, I got some songs. You want to come over and jam a little bit? And that's when he started playing these chords, and I'm like, all right, E major, all right, to an A major, and I'm like, okay. And then I start playing my E major scale, and all of a sudden, I'm writing melodies over songs that he's written, and I was like, oh,
Nice.
this is cool the way it kind of unfolded that way. So yeah, I mean, obviously when you're in your late teens, early 20s, you're like, yeah, rock star. I want to play on stage and make
Bang
money
all
and,
the girls.
and drink beer and all that fun stuff.
I'm gonna find the biggest titties.
Can't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was having fun just listening to his story.
So speaking of that, so you meet Sam, then you guys start dating. Now, me and Travis have something in common,
Uh-oh.
and the fact that
Well, hold on. You always
Huh?
say that when we have guests. He'll say that, and like, why don't you say what the thing is first, so they decide whether or not they want to be in
no.
common with you?
Well, I like saying that first so
Yeah.
that it scares the guests. Because they want nothing in common with me.
Uh-oh.
I'm never scared.
We
No,
both
I'm
have
not
a
scared.
horrible body odor that we carry around at all times.
No,
true.
well, we've been with the same woman
Yes.
our whole lives,
Yes.
essentially. So I don't know if you did much
Hey, you
dating
find a good
before
one, you latch on.
Sam, yeah. But so you meet Sam, you start dating her,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's
Dating is a
yeah.
term.
You're right.
Whoa! My
It's a
God, we're
word.
getting the scoop.
So yeah, what was the courting process with Sam?
Remember MySpace?
Yeah.
A lot of
Some
MySpace
yeah.
DMs.
Yeah. Some hookups at parties, right? And then just slowly moving my stuff
Into my apartment,
into
yeah.
her apartment.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
apartment was right down the street from UPS.
Yeah.
So when he would get out of work, he would come over to my house.
Oh, nice.
And then you start realizing you're like, I haven't been in my own house in months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And you're
how
like,
it
why am I
works.
paying rent there?
yeah.
That's how
Well,
it
he
works.
was living with his mom, so
Oh,
he wasn't
okay,
paying rent.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you guys
And then
start,
I was like, wait a minute, why am I paying when this full rent when this guy's staying with me every
Yeah,
night?
exactly. Come on,
He's
UPS.
and so when does it get to the point where you realize, all right, this is a serious, relationship that is going to go on for a
Yeah,
while?
how old are you now, too? I'm trying
I
to-
would have been 18 still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
young.
Fresh.
Should have been 20.
Graduated.
Oh my
I think
God, babies.
I think it was officially serious when Sam brought home Dude, our first Chihuahua.
Oh, it
Oh.
took that long. Okay.
Okay, so you
Well, that was like
Say
a
it
month
differently.
That
by
was
the way.
a month after we started
No, it
dating.
wasn't.
I know.
It's happening. It's happening. No, but just
This
so
is
you
why
know,
we-
no matter what, this happens because it has to. It always does.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as this not happening.
Yeah. Because your recollection of
Yeah.
how the feelings
It was
were.
fast though, because
Yeah.
like we stayed in my apartment for a while till my lease was up. Then we went. His mom was about to move and sell her house that will now become Lake Nona, right? So
Gotcha.
so we went and stayed there for a little bit and helped her like get that house ready for sale. Then I brought dude home, and then I'm like, well, we have a baby together.
Did
now.
you like? Okay, so let's talk about the dog thing because I did that with Andrea when I brought Caesar home years ago. Were you concerned at all or were you taking this out on as like this is my dog?
No, I got it for him.
Oh, you got it for?
Yeah.
That's a bold move, man. Getting a pet for somebody.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. I remember when I got
It's called
Caesar.
manipulation.
Well, I got Caesar for Andrea. My mom got so mad at me.
Did she ask for a dog?
She had wanted a
Okay.
West Highland Terrier.
Okay,
I
there you
took
go.
the picture of the whole story about it being a gag. I sent her the photo and was like screwing around about it. But what's funny about that is my mom got really, really angry with me. It was like she was like, "You never do that. You never get a pet for somebody unless they're like I'm just
Yeah.
like, oops."
It sounds like she asked for it. I don't recall asking for a Chihuahua. But, I mean, it all worked out. It worked out.
Your mom was taking her dachshunds, and you wanted a dachshund, and he was half dachshund, and he needed a home. He needed to be saved.
Yeah. I just call him a sweetheart, but he wasn't. But
And
yeah,
you,
it was great.
You loved him.
I did,
Yes, that was
oh,
your
I
boy.
cried and cried when he passed.
Hell
Oh,
yeah. Why
I was
wouldn't
like, I was like, take me instead.
Yeah, that's your buddy.
Don't take
Yeah.
the dog.
So
Don't
let's
take the dude. 100% on board with that.
let's talk about another thing that I think is beneficial to the health of relationships. Sometimes I think, and
I'm
Please.
interested to see what this
Yeah,
is.
it's interesting that you're the one ripping the Band-Aid off of this. I don't even know what this is.
And this is living together with your partner while you're the poorest you've ever been.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like, because that struggle, I do feel like the people that have gone through the struggle of being poor for many years together, like, and then you come out of it, and then you build your life or whatever.
Trauma bonding.
Right.
And then you just realize, but also it gives, like, me and Crystal went through this where we were like the poorest we've ever been
You've
living
smoked
together.
in bed
Yeah.
together.
Smoking
Oh, we
with
did
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
If you've smoked
Yeah.
in bed together,
Like-
you've Willy Wonka
Freaking
together.
disgusting. I
Like-
can't believe we did that.
Like
Yeah.
when we only had
Sleeping on mattresses on the floor.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
when
Smoking in my computer room and blowing it right on the screen.
Yeah.
Why would I? What was wrong with me?
and when we only had like $20 in our account, Crystal would go take $300 out so that she
One
we-
yeah,
Yeah.
one fee.
overdraft
Yeah.
fee. So you'd basically
Take it all at one
Trav was
shot.
at Amscott
I did.
every
I did all the
week.
dumbass. I was
Yeah.
so bad with money in my
Yeah,
early
yeah.
20s. And eventually, did this, the thing that so many people do is get yourself in so much credit card debt that it's insurmountable with your salary. You know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah,
Speaking
yeah.
of Trav wanting to be a rock star, he got a credit card and then just went crazy.
No,
that's
like
the Tom
musicians
Band.
friends.
Yeah.
That worked
water.
out.
Every
he had a-
man does that.
He had
by
a
the way.
mandolin.
A mandolin.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
Had
buying
a bluegrass face.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Every man
He
does
bought.
that.
By the way, he bought me a bass guitar for my birthday, and I didn't ask for
That's
one
true.
of those.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Chihuahua bass
All of a
guitar.
sudden,
bass
I'm
wah-wah.
now I'm in a band with him playing bass. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, he
Yeah.
needed a bass player.
That's
He's
right.
got the most
That's right.
beautiful bass player right in front of him. Here's your bass. Get to play.
I did have a problem where I would recruit people who
Yeah.
aren't musicians and then teach them like the basics. And
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't even want to do this.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
that's all right. They're
Very
able
selfish.
bodies. You
Very
needed
selfish.
An able body.
Yeah.
But there's also like the mindset of, all right, we've been poor before. If everything goes to S and we lose it
We
all,
know we can survive.
we've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
lot less comfortable when you're older. But when you're younger, it seems like sleeping with the or having no water, or your electricity
Yeah.
turned off, or
Right.
roaches.
Mine was a little different
no-
than y'all's because I found Andrea when she was so young. And I was
Yeah, yeah,
already
yeah.
an established millionaire at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I was plucking a baby from the sky,
Yeah, yeah,
like an
yeah.
angel from the sky. And then,
Yeah,
then I
I've
gave
seen
her,
old de jour, whatever.
Yeah, I gave her everything that she needed, and I made her who she is in my own image.
Yeah.
I created her, basically.
Yeah. It was like Pamela
Unsettling.
Anderson.
Yeah. Now she's taking care of me. Exactly. Now she's going to take care of me in my twilight years.
Anyway, now when does it move towards like getting serious and the marriage, and where I think you guys got married how long ago?
2015.
2015.
Yeah, so
You
we're
weren't
going on,
there, so
going on
it's
nine.
It's easy to forget.
9 years married, and what would be 17 total?
Yeah.
So-
9 years married?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This upcoming
Yeah,
January.
one
well,
in a
yeah,
month.
This month.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
We've been together
Almost-
for a long time.
Almost
so
a decade.
So it's been serious for a long time, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we
What, it took you 7 years to propose?
yeah, again, extremely poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like when you're a kid, takes some maturity and growth to even get to that point. So it's like if you meet when you're 18, it's like you're 25.
Yeah.
That's I think by 25 you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. People that get married at 20 or
Yeah.
sub 21, I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's quick.
And then
just
me,
give it a little
and like
couple
me
of years.
getting
there.
married, I looked like I was getting married, just doing it so I did it before I died. It's like you see old
Yeah.
people that do that. You see people get married in their 90s. You're like, well, you're only doing that. That's for everybody else. That's not even for you.
So Travis, I'm curious to I know when Sam was interning for the radio station and that whole thing, what was going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I want to know what he thought of that madness. Craziness, man.
Were you saying this is going to go somewhere or
this is
let's see where it goes?
all of these people are crazy.
Still on the fence, honestly.
yeah. Me
No,
too,
I
man.
was incredibly proud of her. Still am, obviously.
Yeah, man.
She's reached these were goals of hers for a long time, and she's achieved those goals. From coming from where we both, I mean, not even just from when we were poor, once we had met, but even our upbringing, from how we both were brought up to where we are now, achieving these goals and kind of building our empire, if you will. I mean, I think we both have a lot to be proud
We're
of.
basically Jay-Z and Beyonce over here.
Yeah. I mean,
Our empire.
Identical.
Yeah.
Identical.
But
Yeah.
when you think about
Peppers
it,
are blue ivy.
a lot of people don't create anything. I mean, there are millions of people that will live a life. I don't know if they've created anything. You guys have created something.
Yeah,
that you care about.
But-
That's really neat.
Yeah, at that time I had again I worked in mostly warehousing and stuff, through my late teens, early 20s, UPS, and then a couple other warehouses. Where I was at the time is a job that I was at for I would have ended up being there for 13 years, but I was really early in my career there, but that's where I decided to get my bachelor's.
Yeah.
They had a good reimbursement program, but
nice.
this was still very early on at that time. That's kind of how I got into my career eventually. But when I was listening to the radio every day. We both grew up as talk radio fans,
Yeah.
which I think you guys and a lot of your
One of our
listeners
first
have in common.
conversations at the house party was talking about the Hideout together.
Oh, right
Oh,
on.
Because
really?
I didn't know anybody else that listened to the Hideout.
Yeah, man, I miss Chunks.
Yeah, Alex is a good dude, man. He's a good man.
We both listened to the podcast back.
But
in
yeah,
the
I
day.
was bragging. I was like, that's my wife on the radio. She's
That's cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I
those are
wouldn't
early
either.
days.
Yeah, it's worn
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
at this, I'd you want her back at this point. Like, too much. Give her back.
Yeah, you were going. Yeah, obviously you interned. You were going to school. I
Yeah.
remember that. That
Yeah.
was, and you were working retail.
Oh, the
That was,
worst.
yeah.
What made you decide? Because it is super fascinating. What made you decide to get that bachelor's degree? Because a lot of people don't want to do
Money?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you saw the value in it because some people, especially now, we're in a weird area. Because I went back and did mine, and I know you finished yours, Tom, too. It's it's one of those things that's just I don't know. I don't. Did you think that'll instantly knock down doors for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a path where, I could, keep working, I mean, obviously you can't load and unload trucks forever. You can work your
Sure.
way up in a warehouse or, become a supervisor, all that fun stuff. But I wanted to get into, I'm very analytical. So I wanted to get in a position where, I could start doing inventory control, warehouse management, operations, stuff like that, which is the path that I'm on now, obviously.
Cool.
And now I have years of experience doing it. But the bachelor's was really what was going to give me that leverage, because you can. And I know there's a lot of arguments against. I'm saying this is what worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
sure,
mean?
of course.
I'm not.
And the company is like,
100%.
you can,
Yeah.
if you get this, you're moving
You have to
on
play
above,
the game you want to play.
Yeah. Like as soon as I'll be honest, as soon as I got that and graduated, which was BS for the most part. I'm great at BSing, so I mean, I'm writing papers and stuff, and I know you get a feel for what the teacher wants,
Sure.
and you cater to that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
Play the game.
whatever it is, you play the game, and I think that's kind of what it's all about. So as soon as I got that bachelor's, like it has been like my career is just boom, 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 just stepping
Nice.
stone, almost exponentially to the point like I left the company that I was at about it was like 13, 14 months ago for a new position, an upgrade, and then since then I've jumped again, and I've like doubled my salary in like 13 months.
Yeah, it's just like college
awesome, dude.
now. A lot of times is just can you prove to the company that you can get their certificate?
It's
Yes,
a certification.
exactly.
Yeah.
Can you
Exactly.
go do the work necessary? Oh, you could do that work. That means you could do more stuff with us because
right.
you accomplished this, and like,
It's like a baseline test too for a lot of places.
I think that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
like, what you're actually learning may not translate at all, but it's like you passed this test, which gives the company confidence. That
Yeah.
they,
Well,
I
that was
almost
it-
freaked
yeah.
out right now because I saw some hair out of the corner of my eye falling from my
Uh-huh.
from my hat, and
Oh,
I was
it's
like,
happening.
"Oh my god, my hair's falling out."
Why would you think?
I
that?
don't know because I'm crazy.
Like that's just a path that I saw that I could take. And then I've heard you guys talk about leverage. I mean that's
Yeah.
really the only bargaining tool you have within an organization. So like, and that's kind of why I left. You're like, well, I'll go over here and they'll pay me this, and then I wouldn't even consider myself like a job hopper in that regard. Although I know that's a technique that people use, but. I get too complacent. I'm like, I just want to stay somewhere and make a bunch of money and
Yeah,
just slip
who
under the
knows-
radar.
Yeah.
Who knows if he ever would have left anyway? Because he actually had recruiters coming after him.
Yeah.
So it's like he might have stayed if he hadn't
And
had people.
I'm
Like,
not even that good at my
trying
job.
To get
I
it.
just, I don't know. I'm good at talking to people, I guess. In that
Well, I
regard.
mean, don't undervalue your personality either.
That's
like,
all
people
I-
like good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like who doesn't want to be around somebody you like?
And then like
That's a value. There is value to that.
and like just being reliable.
Yeah.
Like who like
Or nice, kind.
just like
Yeah.
just knowing like this person's not gonna screw me over or just never
Yeah, being
show
honest
up or,
is such a-
or
yeah.
drop the ball.
Yeah.
You like and that's all it doesn't
Consistency.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's really it. And then not being crazy.
Yeah,
helps a lot,
that's a
like,
huge one.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
And like,
Yeah.
just not being a pain in the ass to deal with or whatever. Like, a lot of times, if you're just not a pain in the ass, you're like, you don't even have to be that good at your job.
Yeah.
You're just,
Right.
Yeah,
like,
just be consistently
yeah,
okay
yeah,
at
yeah.
it.
People
Oh, my God.
like to be around you.
Speaking of, we were talking about the teacher that can't control the class. So I did like some warehouse supervision work.
Oh.
And I was there were a
You were
couple
that guy?
there were a
Thank
couple
you
times
for
where I
your
was
service.
almost the teacher. When you're dealing with employees that are like hot-headed and stuff, and it's like, oh my god,
Oh,
what do
that's
you
why
do?
I could never be a manager.
Oh,
dude.
it was
Also, warehouse jobs are unique.
Yeah.
You get all different
You can
people.
be killed in a warehouse.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to let you
Yeah.
know.
I never I worked at Home Depot, which is kind of where we
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
did
forklift, yeah.
nighttime
That counts.
stocking.
That
That
counts.
But the crew that does warehouse is a mixture of
Oh, it's a different breed. I've worked in warehouses.
It
Yeah,
reminds
yeah.
me
young
of-
people,
yeah.
then
reminds
old
me-
people
Yeah.
that have done.
They've been there since the inception of the company.
you know what it
or
reminds
just
me
made
of?
mistakes in life.
It reminds me of Sly Stallone's The Expendables.
Yeah,
It's all
Right,
different.
right.
Like you've got the
Yeah.
old guy, the young guy, the bomb
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
expert, the lady,
Yeah, yeah.
the handicapped person.
the guy who's there for one last job.
yeah,
yeah,
you've got them all.
coasting it to
all
retirement.
across the board.
Yeah, and then people that you're like, you've done some sketchy things.
yeah.
The cops show up to the job site
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to ask them a few questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
So-
talk about podcasting and okay, so the Semantic Show. You're a huge part on that. I listen to you guys all the time. Was that something that she wanted to do and pulled you into? Was that something you guys both cohesively wanted to do? Like, how did that work out?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, we're both fans of talk radio growing up. I listened to not only you guys, but everything on Real Radio at
Yeah.
the time and sports talk radio. Like I was like taking whatever I could get. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
As far as just like having someone talk to me while I drive, like I just like absorbing information
Sure.
that way.
And people forget that it was 25 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you had to get it from
Yeah.
whatever radio station had it. So
And
you
it
only
was,
had
take what you get.
or real
Yeah.
radio, and then the weekends a Magic Mechanic or whatever, like
Yeah.
like NPR.
Listen to
like,
some boating show on Saturday morning, but like
Yeah.
we my friends and I would hang out and like listen to the Hideout on Friday night, like and we'd be on AOL Instant Messenger
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
with everybody and stuff like that. Like that was like what we were into. So I think like doing a podcast after seeing how you guys got your start up and were doing it successfully, hanging out, having fun, cracking some beers on a Friday.
That's
like
over now.
what's not to like?
It's over now. It's
No
all
more
get to
fun.
work now.
Yeah.
It's all get to work now.
But the vision for semanticspodcast.com was all Samantha.
this guy's a pro.
And I brought some audio. I'm a bit of a gearhead myself, as far as like I've done like home recording and stuff like with bands. So I think I even had like some microphones and gear that we could use, and of course everything's been upgraded since.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I think you kind of pulled me into it.
I mostly was like, hey, I'm gonna do this show, I think, and it'd be appreciative if you would help me produce it. And then he basically just sat in on every show and produced it, and then helped me talk, especially like because at first we mostly had friends on, just like not necessarily anybody else that anybody else would know.
I think that was kind of the vision of it.
That was the vision of it.
Because we'd hang out on our back porch and like smoke cigarettes till like 6 o'clock in the morning, like you do in your early
and
20s,
just shoot
or
the
maybe
S
that's
with
just
our
us.
friends.
But
And
we
we're
would
like,
just
try and make each other laugh.
get blind drunk, making each other
Yeah.
laugh, just doing dumb S. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the idea. Is like, well, let's just take that and translate it into a podcast. The people don't need to know who the guests are. We'll tell them it's our buddy, Trey. It's our buddy Paul, and that was kind of the
Sometimes
idea.
I like that. Sometimes I like that better when it's just like some rando human that I'm like, oh, that'll be interesting
And
to
as
see
the
what they
show
have
went
to
on,
say.
we did start adding other people, but I think we're slowly, especially during the pandemic, a lot of it was mostly just Trav and I. But I think, we're slowly going to go back to more of the original style of not necessarily getting quote unquote guests that have like something to promote or
we've never really
something
done
else
that.
going. Not really, but
Yeah.
some of our friends did have podcasts or other things like
Sure.
companies and stuff that we would
Sure.
help promote. But yeah, I think we're just going to go back to the roots of it all
Nice.
of like, let's just have fun with our friends.
Any more bands? You
Yeah.
guys played in a band together.
We did.
Yeah, so I mean,
Again, he recruited me for
Yeah.
drums on that one.
I like that though.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I would literally kill to play in a family. The Dennis family players or something. Maisie's up there saying, look, my dreams.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
Tom
yeah, yeah.
knows that would, like, I would cry.
What would
Every-
Andrea play?
I don't know, something boring and cheap. I know that.
Triangle.
Yeah, something that doesn't
Tambourine.
cost a lot of money,
Yeah.
I feel like Andrea could practice every night on something and learn how to
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
I
Would,
mean,
yeah.
Tom
She
like
can play the
that.
bass.
Yeah.
For sure. Everybody
Sensible
can play the bass.
Yeah. But I think that's like
It was
really cool.
fun.
And I got to see you guys play one time
Yeah.
at the Yacht Pub, and it was like awesome. I was like, oh, this is great. And then obviously too busy, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you still do any music though now?
Yeah, so I dabble. So the whole rock star thing, that obviously it's not the career path I went down, but dabbled in it. We had the Heartbreak
Yeah.
Junkies with Sam, myself, our buddy Rodney and Dom. We all kind of grew up together and to some degree. People started having families and stuff like that, and just time,
Moving to different parts of town.
as you
It's
get
hard to practice.
as you
hard
progress
to
through
do
your
stuff.
20s and stuff. But I actually played. I finally kind of realized my dream, if you will, playing with the reggae band Melodic Descent, where that was like, oh, we were gigging, every single weekend, getting paid.
That was a job, right? Like you were playing every weekend, man. Like
Yeah,
that was
sometimes-
a legitimate band.
Yeah, that was like a
and
part-time job.
I think that's where it really clicked for me. Like, I don't want to do this. This is too much work for It really didn't even matter the amount of money. It's just like, loading gear up, like also being away from home every weekend. I'm working Monday through Friday kind of thing, gigging every weekend night, and it's just like, this is too much. And I played bass in the band, so I'm also having to I have like these 2 giant stacks, my bass, like all this gear that I'm having to lug around.
Yeah.
It was cool. Really enjoyed it. We did some originals, a lot of covers, played bars. Some gigs were better than others. We played a couple private gigs where Nobody cared that we were there. It almost seemed like we were bothering them, but we still
those
got paid at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
those
like
were
it
rough.
when they walk by to get a drink and they plug their ears.
Yep. Been there. I don't take it personally though.
I was at a biker charity event where an old lady walked by the biker band and she did that move and she plugged her ears and the lead singer told her to F off.
I like that.
I was like, this is a great charity event. It's going well. This is going well.
Yeah, we did this gig like every year. I don't know why they kept hiring us. I think the person who hired us really liked us, but it was at the UCF.
Yeah.
I was going to say the local college, but it was at UCF. It was like for their crew. It's like all like a bunch of like a family event
Crew
like near
guys
the lake.
love white boy reggae.
Yeah. So they would hire us to play, and like we weren't a clean band. A lot of songs about marijuana.
It's reggae, man.
90% of the songs are about marijuana,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of our songs had some foul language or whatever. But we would if we
A lot of punani in
we'd
there.
see exactly.
Yeah, a lot of reggae songs.
We'd look at the audience, and our lead singer Larry, he would adjust, but you can only adjust so much.
his
You know what I
last
mean?
name's
They used to do a
Punani,
cover of Forgot About Dre.
That's what I was getting
Yeah.
to. We did Forgot About Dre as part of this whole medley. And there were some people there that were like disgusted that we were doing that song. And I remember them looking at us like,
What are you doing?
exactly.
Never.
And I'm just like hitting that bass line, ding, 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 and I'm just like, hey, I'm doing my job, bud.
I
Yeah.
believe the man on stage, Lawrence, just said the word punani.
Travis, I want to talk to you about living the grumpy lifestyle.
Yes.
Because I too want to
No,
live
you're
the
not as
grumpy.
good as he
No,
is.
I know,
This
I
guy,
know.
This
because
guy
I'm too
will
awkward.
shut the Costco down.
I know.
Do I seem grumpy?
No.
Trav
no,
has
no.
a balance, right? Because, he will go full theme, dress up,
Yeah.
and have fun, but
Time
he
and
will
a place.
also be a curmudgeonal man.
Time and a place for
Well,
everything. I think he chooses
now-
it when it's properly needed.
He
Now-
will, in fact, do the most awkward confrontations that Tom cannot do.
Yeah. Well,
I.e.
that's
the-
the
What are you
difference.
talking about?
The receipt Walmart greeter.
I love it. I love it.
Anybody that knocks on our door.
Yeah.
Well, why are they
solicitors,
doing that? I'm jovial.
Well,
Now, trick or treaters that ring our doorbell
are
on
they
Halloween.
doing
Well, Travis, now I don't mean to offend you. I'm just going off of what Sam tells us all the time. How you walk out of Walmart without showing the old man or woman
he's
that
like,
you're
excuse me there, sir. I need to see you.
And I'm like, what? He just walked right by? And
Yeah.
then Sam's like, walked right by. Doesn't even look at him. I'm like, oh, I want to live like that. I can't do it. I have to pull the receipt out. And I
Yeah.
promise I didn't steal anything.
You're making small
I'm
talk.
sorry.
I don't have time for that.
You're
I
apologizing
like
to him. Yeah.
And then she says that you used to mow the lawn in full denim Dan
Yeah.
Jay Leno.
I don't know. So I've retired that. I've retired. Switched to wool.
Wool.
Yeah, it's more protective.
So because again, you do go out to Disney all the dress
He
up.
has his
and you have
happy
fun.
side, but he
We're
also
doing it
has his
tonight?
grumpy denim side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it tonight. I'm
We're getting all Christmas.
we like to Disney bound. I'm going as Donald Duck myself tonight.
Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Well, he is a grumpy duck.
Yeah, he's gonna dress like Donald Duck. But like,
Actually, I do like that better. That you're seemingly dressed like Donald Duck, but
Extra grumpy.
Then you walk
yeah.
right by the
he's,
old man.
he's dressed like a whimsical duck. No time for BS.
I like
No pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
You doing shorts? Are you doing shorts? with
Tonight
it?
it's got to be pants. It's supposed to be
Pants.
cold tonight.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, it is gonna be cold tonight.
Yeah. So Sam also said that you started getting into gambling, which I want to talk to you about.
I was hoping you weren't gonna bring this up.
Because so
How
let's
much
talk
money
some-
did you lose
I'd
this
ask
weekend?
you for advice, but I have too much pride.
Also, I don't know that he's good for
so-
advice.
You don't want my advice.
So what I put 200 into my Hard Rock. I like the Hard Rock app. I'm sure you're using it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was using Bovada, then I was like, I don't know, that seems kind of sketchy. But I got into the Hard Rock app, and I was like, let me put 200 in here because me and the boys went to the last Orlando City match.
Yep.
And as I recall, we were pretty heavy favorites for that match. At least Orlando City was going in hot to the playoffs as the second seed. And I was like, hundo on City tonight. And we lost that match. And I was very disappointed in that.
A hundo, that's a big boy betting.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was a sure thing. And this is why I'm bad
yeah.
at betting, because I'm I'm a passionate fan. I have a little bit of
bet
heart.
with your heart.
Yeah, you got to suck
Yeah.
that out of there.
Yeah. I can teach you that. I can teach you how to make your heart black.
I actually-
you're betting against the Dolphins.
How would you like to shrink your heart 9 sizes?
You're betting against the team
Reverse
you love,
Grinch.
and then they win, and you're miserable.
Yeah, like
that's
this
how
guy.
to do
Don't
it.
do
How
that.
would you like
it
to-
can't take it.
How would you like to take something you truly enjoy, which is all of your favorite sports teams,
Mm-hmm.
and then flush the integrity of loving them down the toilet?
I can't.
Because Tom hates the Dolphins now.
I
they're
can't.
doing
No,
I can't
I
do it.
love the Dolphins. I'll bet them against.
Trav
like-
also themes out anytime. Like yesterday, 2 wardrobe changes because he had to watch Liverpool in the morning and
right.
then the Bucks in the afternoon.
Nice.
Right.
He does full get up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. I like that.
The Bucks are playing pretty well with old Baker Mayfield.
Not
I
bad.
never would have
Well,
thought.
with the Falcons' loss yesterday,
Falcons
it
are
looks
so
like
bad.
they're going to have a smoother road to the playoffs. You know,
if you-
Jacksonville next week.
If you think about it, it was the best bet if you would have bet the Bucks to make the playoffs after they lost
Oh,
Brady.
sure, yeah.
Because then everybody's like, "Oh, it's a rebuild year."
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll
they're
never
gonna-
happen.
They're
Yeah.
gonna
Baker's
tank
fun.
for.
He's
they're-
fun to watch.
They're gonna tank for a new quarterback, and you're like, "What do you mean?" Like they still have a older Super Bowl caliber team. You know, the only
Sure.
piece that changed was old man Brady, who the last year he didn't play well. So it's
Yeah.
like then you put a competent quarterback like Mayfield in there, and they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Like it
I
makes
like him better than Ritter.
it makes sense. Anyway,
It does.
So it is cool to see that the Bucks are able to do something. Although you're like, is this the future of? They're gonna have to rebuild at some point.
Yeah.
They
Right.
will.
They
They'll. I think they'll get rid of Evans. Even though he had his 10th straight 1,000-yard
Yeah,
season or something.
that guy's a Hall of Famer, man.
Yeah,
He's played with some bad teams. I'm glad that he got a Super Bowl win under his belt. I'd love to see him retire as a Buck. It's rare these days. But yeah, I believe he'll be a free agent this offseason.
Oh
so.
yeah, he's going to the Chiefs. That's my prediction.
Yeah, people have been saying that for a minute.
Yeah. The Chiefs need a wide receiver. They can't have these goofuses dropping passes all the time. Like you have the
Yeah.
best quarterback in the NFL, and you could have won multiple
Games.
because of drop passes and
Probably gonna
Kadarius
happen.
Toney lining
Lighting
off,
up.
lining
Oh,
off
God, it's so
offside.
funny. So funny.
And so you need a Hall of Famer wide receiver to make another run. at
And
the
he
Super
would
Bowl.
fit
Yeah.
there perfectly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Just plug and play.
And then he'll go back to the Bucks and do the ceremonial
Yeah.
one
I'm fine
day
with that.
retirement.
yeah,
You know,
that's
they'll
fine.
do
Yeah,
it.
It's totally fine.
So let
Tony
him.
Gonzalez did it. It's fine. You just do it.
That
Yeah.
guy has been so clutch for so many years, man. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Let him go win the Super Bowl. With another team, then come back. Anyway. So you're gonna lose a lot gambling with your
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Lost all my UFC
But
bets
he
this
likes
weekend.
it.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but here's the argument. I was waiting to say this, but he's having more fun than you. Guaranteed to lose
Oh,
more.
yeah.
But he's having more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit more fun if I won some
Yeah.
of these. I
You
mean, I had some
will.
close
You
ones.
will. You'll luck out and you will win one, and then you'll be extra happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked some like I don't know if you guys watch UFC at all. Watch
Yeah.
pay-per-view this
Yeah.
past weekend. I had some good some good ideas, just poor execution. Like method of victory, I got all wrong, but I got the winner right. Stuff like
Yeah.
that. I was trying to hedge my bets a little bit, but it's still fun.
If you're new to it, yeah, you got
Yeah.
something to shoot for, man.
yeah.
So semantics.
Semantics Pod.
You can go and find Semantics Podcast anywhere where podcasts are heard.
You can also subscribe to that Patreon, put a
Yes,
little coin in
please
their
do.
pocket,
Yeah.
and you get
And-
a lot of creative and extra shows.
And also, congratulations for doing it so long.
Thanks.
Like,
7 years in February.
Yeah.
7
right,
years.
We will be celebrating our 7-year anniversary February
18th at Rock Pit
at
Brewing.
Rock Pit
Oh,
Brewing.
Love
awesome.
Rock Pit.
Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, just
Come on out.
to do a podcast steadily and consistently for 7 years is a rarity.
Yeah, it is.
Nowadays, and as people drop off and they, but you guys
Especially
stuck with it and committed
locally,
yourself.
too, or smaller. Like, even us. It's like, we're a rarity, you're a rarity. It's like,
Yeah.
it's radio
yeah,
now.
If you go back through our, archives, you'll hear a lot of people that used to be local podcasters on there that
Sure.
Yeah.
are no longer podcasts.
Weird.
Yeah, because at a certain point, you start looking. You're like, I've been doing this 5 years, and I can't get
Crazy.
anything go. It's like I can't put so much time into this. I'll
Yeah.
put it, but you
You
guys,
could. You just chose to quit.
yeah,
Right.
That's what I say to him. I go, you're a quitter.
We have a good relationship with our sponsors, and I guess we just I think we played our cards right. We're we're not asking to make a living off this. We make some decent income through our sponsors. We have great sponsors. We share some,
Yeah, sure.
Burn and Mo. We
Yeah.
love Rock Pit
Bart.
Brewing, Bart. And our Patreon, we
Patreon
put out
helps.
we put out some
Our Twitch helps. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/semantics media.
all the links are at semanticspodcast.com. You can't miss them. But yeah, I mean it makes it fun that we don't have to, we invest the appropriate amount of time into it and get what we expect out of it. So it's to some point it's cathartic for us to do it.
sure.
Put a
Yeah.
show together. Have some fun with it, and then keep it moving.
You should try investing too much time into it and not getting what you want. That's what I do.
Yeah, all right, fair.
And
fair.
then you'll be
I'll keep that in mind.
Trav, how do you feel about gift bags?
Oh yeah, double the gift bags.
Hate him.
We still have some left. We can cross out Beer Fest
Gift
on there.
bags.
All
right, guys.
Travis, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
out.
man.
thanks
Love
for
you
having
so
me.
much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, guys, and
We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.